The office building where Ethan worked as a night janitor towered into the snowfall like a shimmering glass mountain. Inside its top floor, Adrian Blake, the CEO of Blake Industries, sat alone in his luxurious, spotless office, staring at the city lights below him. To the world, he was the man who built an empire, the billionaire visionary everyone admired. But none of them knew how empty his life truly felt. After his parents died during Christmas years ago, Adrian stopped celebrating the holiday entirely. He buried his grief under layers of work, meetings, and silence. His assistants tried to decorate his office each December, but he always had the decorations taken down the same day. Christmas wasn't joy to him, it was a reminder of everything he lost. Tonight, however, he stayed longer than usual. Something about the cold air, the loneliness inside the building, and the distant sound of holiday music drifting in from the lobby left him unsettled. It was as if the world outside celebrated something he no longer believed in, and he couldn't escape the ache that throbbed quietly in his chest. Meanwhile, Ethan entered the building, exhausted but determined. He needed the extra hours. He needed every dollar. Lily had grown out of her shoes again, and her winter coat had a tear he couldn't afford to fix. As he pushed his cleaning cart toward the elevator, Ethan heard a sound from the upper floors, something like a crash. His heart kicked inside his chest. It was nearly midnight. Most employees had left hours ago. He hesitated before stepping into the elevator, unsure of what he would find. When the doors opened on the top floor, Ethan saw something he never expected. Adrian sitting on the carpet, broken glass scattered around him, his face buried in his hands. The expensive snow globe that had been on his shelf for years lay shattered beside him. Ethan didn't know the story behind it, but the CEO looked nothing like the untouchable man people feared. In that moment, he looked human, fragile, hurting, and unbearably alone. Ethan didn't ask questions. He simply knelt down, carefully picking up the broken pieces. In the silence between them, something unspoken passed. Two men from completely different worlds, both carrying invisible battles. Adrian wiped his eyes quickly, embarrassed, but Ethan pretended not to notice. For the first time in years, Adrian didn't feel judged. He felt understood. Over the next few days, their paths crossed more often. Adrian would stay late. Ethan would work quietly in the background, and somehow, they started noticing small things about one another. Adrian admired Ethan's gentleness, his patience, his humility. Ethan, on the other hand, saw through Adrian's cold exterior, saw the man beneath, the loneliness he tried so hard to hide, the way he stood by the windows at night as if searching for something he lost long ago. It wasn't friendship, not yet, but something was forming, a silent connection neither expected. One evening, Ethan accidentally left Lily's Christmas drawing on his cleaning cart. Adrian found it near the trash bin, a crayon sketch of a little girl holding hands with her dad beside a tiny Christmas tree. Adrian stared at it longer than he expected. Something about the drawing tightened his throat. He recognized longing in those childish lines, the longing for warmth, for family, for a Christmas that meant something. The next day, Adrian called Ethan into his office. Not to reprimand him, not to question him, but simply to ask about the drawing. Ethan explained how Lily believed Christmas was extra special when hearts are warm, even if wallets aren't. Adrian didn't respond, but the words stayed with him long after Ethan left the room. As the days passed, Adrian started watching Ethan more closely, not in a judging way, but in a quiet, thoughtful way. He noticed how Ethan worked through pain, how he rarely took breaks, how he saved every extra penny he could. One night, Adrian saw Ethan limping slightly and learned he had slipped on ice earlier but still showed up for work. People often assumed Adrian was cold because he was rich, but the truth was, he was cold because he was afraid of caring. Caring had cost him everything once before. He didn't want it to happen again. But Ethan and Lily were unknowingly thawing something in him. On Christmas Eve, the building was almost empty. Snow fell heavily outside, covering the city in white. Ethan received a call from Lily's school. They were organizing a holiday event, and she wanted her dad to be there. Ethan's heart twisted. He wanted to go more than anything, but he needed the extra shift. Rent was late. Bills were due. He didn't know how to choose between being a good father and being a provider. That night, Adrian found Ethan sitting alone in the janitor's lounge, staring at a letter, an eviction notice. Ethan tried to hide it when Adrian walked in, but he had already seen enough. Something inside Adrian shifted sharply. Without thinking, he sat beside Ethan. Not as a CEO, not as a man above him, but as someone who knew what it meant to feel like your world was falling apart. In a long, quiet moment, Ethan told Adrian everything, his struggles, his fears, how he worked 3 jobs, how he tried his best to give Lily a good life, how Christmas had become a painful reminder of everything he couldn't provide. Adrian listened without interruption. For the first time in years, he felt someone speak from a place of truth, not out of fear, flattery, or expectation. And that was when Adrian made a decision that surprised even him. The next morning, Ethan woke up early, ready to work another long shift. But when he walked into the building, he froze. The entire lobby, usually cold and formal, was transformed into a breathtaking Christmas wonderland. Trees glittered with lights, ornaments shimmered like stars, and a small stage was set with a banner, "A Christmas for Those Who Deserve One." Ethan stood still, tears welling up in his eyes, when Lily suddenly ran into his arms. She was wearing a brand new coat, holding a cup of hot chocolate, her cheeks rosy with joy. She told him a kind man picked her up, brought her to the building, and said he had a surprise for her daddy. When Ethan looked up, Adrian stood at the top of the lobby stairs, watching them with a soft, warm expression Ethan had never seen before. Not the cold, distant CEO, not the guarded billionaire, but a man who had let himself feel again. Adrian approached them slowly and gently explained that the entire event, the decorations, the gifts, the warmth, was for them. And then he revealed the secret he had been hiding for years. Christmas wasn't painful because he hated it. It was painful because he lost his family on Christmas night long ago, and he never celebrated again. But Ethan and Lily, without knowing it, reminded him what love felt like. What hope felt like, what second chances felt like. He told Ethan he wasn't offering charity. He was offering gratitude, for showing him what the world tried to take away from him. Ethan broke down. Lily hugged them both, and for the first time, Adrian allowed himself to hug back. Christmas morning came with something none of them expected, a new beginning. Adrian offered Ethan a stable job with better pay, benefits, and a schedule that allowed him to spend time with Lily. He even offered to help them move into a better home. But more than anything, he offered something deeper, the promise that none of them had to face their battles alone anymore. And as snow fell gently outside, the 3 of them shared a quiet moment together, a single dad, a lonely boss, and a little girl whose pure heart stitched them back together. The world around them felt warmer, brighter, softer. A Christmas secret had changed everything. Emotional call to action near end. If this story touched your heart even a little bit, please like the video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe so more people can feel stories like this.